was secretly sabotaging your child's dreams? My daughter went from concert-level pianist to refusing to touch the keys in 3 weeks, and I thought she was just being dramatic. The signs started small but grew impossible to ignore. Mandy would drag herself to lessons like she was heading to prison, her usual chatter replaced by silence. Her hands, once so confident on the keys, started trembling during warm-ups. Strange red marks appeared across her fingertips from what I later learned was excessive repetition. She'd come home with puffy red eyes, mumbling about allergies, when we both knew she didn't have any. Her competition scores plummeted from first place to barely qualifying. I found her favorite sheet music torn to pieces in the bathroom trash. My husband Russell rolled his eyes when I brought it up before bed. She needs to toughen up, Marissa. Performance anxiety is normal. You're raising her to be weak like you. His sister Rebecca, our daughter's piano teacher, had texted him that Mandy was struggling with discipline, but something shifted in Mandy's face when Rebecca's name came up, a micro-flinch that made my maternal instincts scream. A few days later, I walked in on them whispering in the kitchen, and they immediately stopped talking. Russell said they were planning a surprise recital for my birthday, and stupid me, I believed him. The pattern turned darker when I overheard Mandy on the phone one night saying, "Don't tell them, Aunt Becca, please. I'll practice until I get it right, I swear." I know it's bad, but I was so worried I went looking for her diary the next day. Inside, it said, "I'm not good enough," written over 100 times in shaking handwriting. I caught her recording herself playing for Elise, then immediately deleting it while calling herself stupid and worthless. The breaking point came at midnight when I found her in the freezing garage, hunched over our old Casio keyboard, tears streaming down her face as she played the same passage over and over, until her fingers cramped and bled. "I have to get it perfect," she whispered when she saw me. "Aunt Becca says I'm an embarrassment to the family name. She says maybe I inherited your lack of discipline." My heart shattered. Russell still insisted his sister was just maintaining high standards, and that I was coddling Mandy into mediocrity like your mother did with you. I decided to arrive 30 minutes early to Mandy's next lesson, parking around the corner and slipping in through the back entrance. The first thing I heard was, again, that was pathetic. The piano started again. She hit a wrong note, and Rebecca laughed. "Horrible. Maybe you inherited your mother's complete lack of talent. Start over." I heard my daughter's quiet sob between the notes. "Crying again? That's another crying penalty. $50 your parents will pay because you can't control yourself." My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and checked our credit card statements. Extra charges I'd never noticed. $200 for masterclass sessions twice a month, plus multiple $50 supplemental fees. The money was coming from Mandy's college fund. Russell handled our finances. My husband had been paying his sister to break our daughter, while laughing about it over beers with his friends. I stormed into that room like a hurricane, and Rebecca didn't even flinch. "Tough love builds character, Marissa. Maybe if someone had pushed you harder, you wouldn't be such a disappointment yourself." She gestured to what I now noticed was a wall of shame. Photos of former students with red X's through their faces. "Russell agrees with me completely. Your daughter needs to learn her place in the world." Mandy sat frozen at the piano, tears still wet on her cheeks, and Rebecca added, "The extra sessions are documented failure corrections. I've been recording them to show how difficult Mandy makes everything." She held up her phone with dozens of videos labeled Mandy's failures. I wanted to launch myself at Rebecca like a rabid raccoon. Instead, I said, "You're psychotic, emotionally abusing my child and charging us for it? What is wrong with you?" That's when Russell walked in and said, "Marissa, you're embarrassing yourself again. Rebecca's methods work. Look at her success." I looked at my husband, really looked at him, and realized he'd probably been hoping Rebecca would break our daughter all along, so she would be easier to control. I packed our bags that night while Russell was at his brother's, and Mandy and I drove straight to my mother's house. I filed for divorce with a restraining order, keeping Rebecca away from Mandy permanently. Within a month, Mandy was playing piano again just for joy, and last week she told me, "Mom, I forgot music could make me happy."